Welcome to the Deep Dive. We've got the latest InfoSec roundup in front of us, issue 48 for 2025.
And it is a dense one.
It really is. It covers, everything from these huge supply chain disasters to the speed of automated cyber weapons.
And a lot of geopolitical friction in there, too.
Exactly. So our mission here is to just cut through all of that noise.
Right.
We're going to pull out the most vital intelligence and give you a really clear picture of the biggest risks right now, the major breaches, the weaponization of AI, all the things you need to know.
And what really jumps out from these sources is the sheer scale of the strategic shift.
What do you mean by that?
Cybercrime isn't just about simple theft anymore. It's really about systemic disruption. We're seeing these constant targeted hits against the software supply chain, critical infrastructure. It just proves that your security is now defined by, the weakest link in your entire ecosystem, not just what's behind your own firewall.
That's a great point, a crucial distinction. So let's unpack this and start with the massive headaches caused by third-party risk.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because even companies you'd think of as security heavyweights are struggling when their vendors get hit.
Oh, for sure.
Take OpenAI. They weren't breached directly, but their third-party analytics provider, Mixpanel, was. They detected it on November 8th.
Right, and the exposure, while limited, was still pretty significant.
Yeah, we're talking names, emails, approximate location, and even organizational IDs for some users.
And that's the scary part. The good news, of course, is what wasn't leaked. The sources are clear on that.
Right. No passwords, no ChatGPT content itself, no API keys or payment data.
But the real takeaway for you, for the user, is that once your name and email are exposed like this, you become a perfect target.
For what? Phishing?
For highly customized social engineering campaigns. Attackers can build these incredibly credible phishing emails that reference your organization, specific services you use. It's a gift for them.
And OpenAI wasn't the only one feeling this ripple effect.
Not at all.
Gainsight, which uses a lot of Salesforce apps, also reported that more of their customers were affected than they first thought.
And that activity traces back to the Shiny Hunters group.
Right, and a new group that's using ransomware as a service, or a ROE. They're calling it Chinese FP1D3R.
ROAS is a term we're seeing pop up everywhere now.
It really is. It just means the whole criminal enterprise has been industrialized, doesn't it?
Precisely. It's not just some genius coder in a basement anymore. It's a subscription model for criminals.
Wow.
And the commoditization of ROAS means that, even low-skilled actors can launch these incredibly sophisticated attacks just by buying the tools from groups like Shiny SP1D3.
It just lowers the barrier to entry for everyone.
Dramatically.
So shifting a bit from the application vendors, we also saw a huge impact from attacks that were leveraging existing software vulnerabilities.
The Oracle e-business suite.
Exactly. The ongoing Clarity and Famine 11 campaign named over 100 alleged victims.
It's a massive blast radius. And while some of the big firms, like a Canon subsidiary, confirmed the impact was limited.
The sources do confirm it hit others pretty hard.
Oh, yeah. Major firms like Mazda and even institutions like Dartmouth College.
And when a critical enterprise platform like that is compromised, the fallout just ripples everywhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that kind of sets the stage for the corporate giants. But let's look now at the actual cost and the timeline of a breach that exposes a ton of personal data.
PII, personal identifiable information.
Right. And the Asahi Brewery case in Japan really drives this home.
That was a big one.
They got hit by a ransomware attack in late September that exposed data for about 2 million people.
2 million. And it was everything. Names, addresses, phone numbers, emails, birth dates.
A goldmine for identity theft.
And what's really concerning there is the recovery time. Asahi is restoring systems in phases, but they've warned the full recovery could take months.
Months. That's a huge amount of downtime.
Well, it's more than just downtime. The delay isn't just about wiping servers. It's about forensics, understanding how it happened, rebuilding trust, auditing your entire network.
So the breach is really just the beginning of the headache.
Exactly. It's not the end.
And it wasn't just huge targets. We also saw smaller, more specific entities get hit.
Right, which shows no one is too small to be valuable.
Like the French Football Federation. They had member data, stolen personal details, addresses from their club management software.
And it all came from what? A single compromised account?
A single account. Which leads us right to the regulatory response.
Yes, the fines.
Comcast got hit with a $1.5 million FCC fine.
And this wasn't even for a breach on Comcast's own network.
No, that's the crazy part. It was because one of their vendors, a debt collector called FBCS, exposed data for almost 275,000 customers.
And that fine sends a really clear message.
Which is what?
That the company holding the customer relationship is ultimately responsible for the security of its entire supply chain. You can't just pass the buck.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered the victims. Now let's pivot to what the attackers are actually building and using.
This is where it gets really interesting.
And genuinely scary. Let's talk about automation, new tools, and specifically the return of the self-replicating worm.
Shai-Hulud.
Shai-Hulud. This is not the slow-moving malware we saw 10 years ago. This new version has been injected into almost 500 NPM packages.
And those packages are, fundamental building blocks for modern software.
And the replication mechanism is just terrifying.
It is. Shai-Hulud spreads by stealing developer NPM tokens.
Which are basically the keys to their accounts.
The keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then it uses those keys to expose developer secrets across more than 26,000 GitHub repositories.
It's an automated weapon designed specifically to poison the software supply chain at scale.
A cancer in the ecosystem is what it is.
So how does a worm like that actually get injected into those packages in the first place?
Yeah.
Is it just like a developer getting phished?
Often, yeah. It starts with social engineering or a weak password, and an attacker gets control of a developer's account. Then they inject the malicious code into the package before it gets published. And because those packages are trusted dependencies, thousands of other projects just automatically pull in the infected code when they update.
And the cycle repeats.
It executes, steals more tokens, and spreads wider.
Wow. Okay, so beyond worms, we're seeing vulnerabilities in really foundational systems.
Like Fluentbit.
The popular log agent used in almost every major cloud and container setup. Researchers found 5 security flaws in it.
And these aren't minor flaws.
No. They allow attackers to overwrite files, run code, or, and this is critical, disrupt the logging operations in a victim's environment.
The ability to disrupt logging is catastrophic.
Why is that so bad?
Well, think of your security operations center as the eye of the storm. If an attacker can disable the logging, they essentially blind your security team during an active attack.
So the defenders can't see what's happening.
They lose their ability to track movement, to understand the scope of the breach, or even know they've been hit until it's far too late.
That's why those vulnerabilities are so serious. Okay, and then we have platform bypasses and collaboration tools.
Always a problem.
A researcher found that a feature in Microsoft Teams, a guest feature, can actually let attackers bypass Microsoft Defender.
Yeah, that highlights the danger of B2B relationships in the cloud. When you join an external organization's tenant as a guest, an attacker can use that session to deliver malware without tripping your own company's security policies.
So what's the fix for that?
Organizations just have to be really careful auditing and controlling their B2B guest settings and their cross-tenant access rules.
And finally, in the IoT space, there's a new Mirai-based botnet.
Shadow V2.
It's actively exploiting 8 known flaws in devices from D-Link, TP-Link, and others.
And we saw it active during that big AWS outage in October.
So why do these Mirai variants keep popping up? And what's the significance of seeing it active during an AWS outage?
They persist because so many of these consumer IoT devices, routers, cameras, smart home stuff, they ship with weak default credentials or just outdated software. They're sitting ducks. And seeing it active during the outage suggests it wasn't a coincidence. It was likely stress testing its DDoS capabilities.
Seeing how much damage it could do.
Exactly, seeing how much capacity it could harness to hit major cloud infrastructure when it's already under strain.
So these technical threats are alarming enough,
But the really strategic concerns involve state actors and AI.
Right. Let's get into the geopolitical reality of this. The House Homeland Security Committee requested testimony from the CEO of Anthropic
Dario Amodei.
about what they're calling a likely Chinese espionage campaign.
And that campaign was specifically using the Claude AI to target at least 30 organizations.
This feels like a major pivot point for espionage.
It is. State-sponsored activity is moving fast to leverage these AI platforms, and it fundamentally changes the nature of intelligence gathering. It blurs the line between human-led spying and automated large-scale attacks.
But how does an AI like Claude actually help with espionage? I mean, it's not like the AI is hacking into systems itself.
No, it acts as a force multiplier for the human analyst.
A force multiplier.
Yeah, so instead of taking weeks to summarize huge amounts of captured data or draft targeted phishing emails, the AI can do it in minutes. It allows state actors to process and act on intelligence at a speed and volume that was just impossible before.
Making their operations faster and more tailored.
Much faster. We also saw some traditional state-linked actors operating with surgical precision.
You're talking about Romcom, the Russian-linked group.
That's right. They attacked a U.S. engineering firm.
And the reason for the attack was entirely geopolitical.
It was. The firm happened to work with a U.S. city that's a sister city of a community in Ukraine.
That's fascinating. It shows a real willingness from these groups to hit private companies that support Ukrainian institutions, even if the connection is, indirect.
It expands the target list way beyond just governments. Any private entity perceived as providing support is now fair game.
And on the flip side, we're seeing legislative efforts trying to catch up.
The Bipartisan AI Fraud Deterrence Act.
Right. It proposes raising the penalty fines up to $2 million in prison for up to 30 years.
And that's a direct response to the dark side of AI tools that are already out there. It's not just targeting hacking. It's specifically focused on fraud and impersonation using deepfakes and voice scams.
That technology is terrifying. The ability to convincingly mimic someone's voice or face.
It makes traditional social engineering so much more effective.
And the tools to do this are being sold right now.
On dark web forums, yeah. Criminals are buying and sharing these custom AI models with names like WormGPT and KawaiiGPT.
And what do those do?
They're custom models trained specifically to bypass the ethical guardrails you'd find in a public AI like ChatGPT. They generate highly effective phishing emails, malware code, exploits.
So it completely eliminates the need for high technical skill.
Completely. If you can type a prompt, you can launch a complex cyber attack.
Which brings us perfectly to our final and maybe most critical point.
The human element.
The crucial human element. Because at the end of the day, whether it's a state actor with Claude or a rookie with WormGPT, they're still relying on human mistakes.
Always.
And here's a truly startling detail. Researchers found that users of sites like JSON Formatter and Code Beautify,
which are just online tools for cleaning up code.
Right. Users have exposed thousands of secrets on them. Keys, tokens, credentials, PII.
And this happens because people treat these public websites like a private scratchpad.
It's like writing your bank PIN on a public whiteboard and then just walking away.
That's a great analogy. They paste sensitive data, they hit save for convenience, and the site generates a shareable URL that attackers are actively looking for and harvesting.
It's just a pure failure of operational security.
And basic human vigilance.
And speaking of the human element, we got a glimpse behind the curtain of a major criminal group.
The scattered LIPS's UF hunters.
Their technical operator and public face, known as Ray, was identified.
And he's a 15-year-old.
A 15-year-old who's now cooperating with law enforcement.
Oh.
It's a shocking detail. It underscores that high-level cybercrime isn't always done by hardened professionals.
It can be brilliant, motivated teenagers who just find the easiest way in.
And that easiest way in is still often the oldest trick in the book?
Mm-hmm. The FBI just put out a warning about account takeover scams.
The numbers are staggering.
Over $262 million stolen since January of this year alone, all from criminals posing as bank or support staff.
Impersonation, social engineering, manipulating trust.
It's still the most profitable tactic, regardless of how sophisticated the malware is.
So it all comes back to human vigilance.
It does. I mean, we talk about zero-day flaws, but an employee failing to use MFA or deciding to paste a secret key into a public website, that's a 20-year-old flaw that's still the easiest way in for an attacker.
So what does this all mean for you trying to navigate this landscape?
Well, we've seen it all this week.
We've seen major firms hit by these systemic third-party risks, the rise of automated worms like Shai-Hulud poisoning the software supply chain.
And AI being weaponized by both sophisticated nation-states for espionage and by low-skill criminals using tools like WormGPT.
It really feels like crime is being commoditized.
It is, and when the tools of cybercrime, from these self-replicating worms to dedicated criminal AIs, become this effective and this accessible, the skill required to be an attacker just drops dramatically. And that raises a really important question. In an era where automated offense is cheap and widely available, how quickly will the current talent shortage in security turn into a catastrophic imbalance?
And what does that mean for protecting the fundamental systems we rely on?
For banking, for logistics, for communication. That imbalance, I think, is the challenge we all face right now.
That is the real strategic takeaway for this week. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the latest intelligence.